Thank you. I do have a question about the R&D that Natalie was raising the issue with working with wood and bamboo. We have to come out with different prototype testing, fire safety, food safety, strength, and versatility, and coming from it in the processing of these bamboo timber, we have to, pay a license of $5 million from Japan to be able to use it. Maybe one of the suggestions is to have a common resources of maybe like a source of fund that these R&D can be built and as a common resources, not as something that you need to pay $5 million. Villages can't pay $5 million for this R&D. Thank you.
Someone want to reply? Someone want to say something, please? Because well, put many questions also for you, John, maybe.
No, I was just wondering whether, also the question about how could the ordinary architect find the time and the money, you asked that, to develop something because there's all the pressure and the demand and you have to make a living and so on. And I just wonder, we have here the Federal Minister of Germany on the construction here. We had Ursula von der Leyen here. Now, I think it is also for the common good and for the common benefit, we have to create platforms, formats, whatever, in order to enable precisely young architects, planners, and so on, to go down that road and not just leave it to, the high-level competitions and so on. Not everybody can win a golden lion and so on. So I think it's a political question as well. And of course, you cannot do it overnight. But I think it would be important that the political system is actually providing opportunities to go the different way, to go the sustainable way, actually. And maybe one can think about it, but we cannot solve it in this room. But I think it's a very, very important suggestion.
My question is to Andrea and to you, WAEL, if I may. Can you tell us a bit how standard setting, building codes are catching up with your innovations? To what extent are they a barrier? How are you dealing with that? What advice would you give us for concluding on this workshop to make innovations translatable into action because I know from Germany we have fairly strict standards and there's all sorts of barriers and traditions and anyway, let me not belabor. What's your experience and what can we learn from you on that?
I think what Francis Carré also presented, how does that conform to BS standards or to Japanese standards or to US standards? And then how does it conform to certain standards? The problem with standards, we put them there to safeguard ourselves against certain failures. But again, they are there also to close our economies and to close certain, I think, products against other rivalries in the market or some new innovation. I personally believe they are always a hindrance and very difficult for someone who's trying to think outside the box and spend his time and energy on really trying to innovate and push that experiment to the maximum, rather than worrying which standard do I meet and how does it meet it in the beginning. I honestly was not so concerned with standards in the beginning. I still am not, and I think the technology is still in the process of the making, and then at some point, if it will have to conform to certain standards, that can be dealt with at a later stage. But I do believe that we need to, you know, like the Biennale giving us very difficult situations, which I understand. It is a public platform that will be visited by 600 people daily, that prototype, so they want assurance with a calculated structure. But why do we have to do it the way, or the standardized way we've been doing it for the past 100, 200 years, where obviously these ways have already failed us. These systems have failed us. So we need to find new systems. So these new systems should have new standards also, and we don't need to follow the existing standards.
Yeah, would comment that we need to have test beds. We need to have enough of testing in order to have the innovative ideas entering the standards, because the path currently is rather long. And on the other hand, we need to be somehow assuring that the architect that has an innovative idea is not going to be resulting in a catastrophe. We are creating the buildings where the people are using it. So on the other hand, we had the experience that we wanted to use something innovative. The companies didn't want to provide the guarantees because they didn't know, they didn't use it before. So of course, that's why I would come back to the demonstrations that I was emphasizing earlier. We need them, and we need to be utilizing modern technologies to be monitoring the performance also of these innovative solutions that we are using in order to detect the problem before it really occurs. So in this sense, we will be encouraging the architects that their crazy ideas, if I may say so, can be actually making the breakthrough new innovative ways of a building that we build. On the other hand, the construction companies that needs to give the warranties at the end, we can prove them, we will detect that something might go wrong soon enough that it won't be resulting in a catastrophe. And of course, researchers that we are really keen on discovering new things, we should be more often present in all these standardization committees and also be getting the feedback loop in order to see what else needs to be tested and applying machine learning in order to be faster in finding out what all can potentially go wrong.
Please.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to compliment the presentation for also because I think it is so easy to become, you know, to fall into the sort of trap of nostalgia that, of course, you know, a village life is more charming than the big city. But you know, in like almost no matter where you look at the actual statistics, quality of life actually increases with progress and even down to like social tragedy, violence, rape, whatever. Like things are actually on a statistical level. So we somehow have to find ways to not forget the knowledge that was there originally. And I loved it when you said you're from a place where they originally built with limestone and you would like destroy all of the reefs on Earth if you would try to create a city at scale. So I think in that sense, and it's also important, I think, to remember that, you know, concrete is not bad because it's bad. It actually has a negative impact on the environment because it's incredibly good at a lot of things. And you know, like the Pantheon is made out of concrete. You know, like just naturally produced as a byproduct of volcanic activity. But so in that sense, what we need to do is that when we discovered concrete, it was sort of affordable and available, and it was applicable in so many ways. That's why it's become so popular. But its popularity has inflated its, in the beginning, insignificant side effects to levels where they're no longer insignificant. And that awareness means that we now know that if we can have a sort of liquid substance that can solidify into any imaginable form that you can create at scale and affordably, that's something we need because we use it a lot in our society. We just can't keep making it in the way we've done so far because we have discovered that they had side effects. It's the same idea that the car is not bad because it's bad. It has bad impact because it's so good at so many things. And that's why we tend to use it as an answer for everything, creating congestion and particle pollution and traffic accidents and all the negative side effects. But ultimately, it's because it's solving something that we really want solved. We just have to find newer and smarter ways of doing that now that we have identified the negative side effects. So I think it was very inspiring, and I think I think what we try to do as architects is that, for instance, by elevating examples such as the one you put forward, like we've also we can see when we're doing a project, the easiest and fastest way to reduce the embodied carbon is to use wood. So right now we're trying to use that whenever we can. And it comes with a lot of challenges and difficulties, but especially in my own climate, Scandinavia, we have an abundance of wood, and wood is actually quite good for the climate that we have. Down here, not so much. So in that sense, but by already creating those demands to the industry, I think we can all see that the cement industry is pretty awake now, because they can see that change is coming. And in that way, we're also applying pressure on those industries to accelerate the innovation that they didn't have to do in the past. So I just really love this idea, like you looked at traditions, you looked at your indigenous landscapes, but you resisted the temptation to glorify the past, but instead use that ancient knowledge and those ancient landscapes to discover new territories.
I know that you want to replay, but we need to go to lunch because we need to we need to come back here to 3. So maybe we can reflect about this, and after in the next session we can come back to this. That are very important questions. Also my question. So I want to have really and replay about this question.